This is Helen Townsend. She's a member of our team, and I'm Bill Fooks. And she's got investment properties, and it's been kind of exciting over a few years, hasn't it?
It has. It really has.
And what was your initial thoughts on investment property? Were you a little afraid of it, or what?
No, I went in there thinking that I was going to help our income to buy an investment property. I was really excited about purchasing.
Has it helped your income?
It has. It has over the years.
Has it been a good tax shelter?
It has been a wonderful
So some of the good things about real estate.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then I know that what's really interesting is pension funds invest in real estate.
That is true.
And
that is true.
Insurance companies invest in real estate. We're not that big, but we can buy investment properties that at least begin with one, true?
That's right.
And if you begin with one and you like it, maybe you'd buy more.
Right.
Maybe.
You go through the experience and you find that you like it,
right.
And you continue to buy more.
Correct. And so that's what we found over the years. We've helped a number of people become pretty wealthy buying investment property.
Right.
And I think you know a number of them.
That's true. That's true.
And they've all started with one. That's been the interesting thing, you know. And what we do is advise people to buy one. If you don't like it, pretty easy to sell one.
Right.
You know, but if you have 7 or 8 or 9, it's more difficult to get out of that. You know, so you have one. Have you thought of buying more? You're looking at more now, or you got your sons into it, or what?
Yeah, my son has purchased an investment property, and now he's bought a single-family house, and so he's kind of growing in his real estate portfolio.
Yeah.
You know,
So the key is when you buy your first one, you can get in with a very low down payment. True, if it's owner occupied, right?
That's right.
And your son got in the low down payment in the first one.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
How much did he put down?
He put down a minimal of 3.5%.
3.5%.
Yeah, 3.5%.
And today with some programs, you can almost do no money down.
Right.
If you own or occupy, right? So they got to know. But then your second investment property, how much do you usually have to put down? If you're going to be 2 investments.
Yeah, 20%.
20%, right.
20%, you know. And I think it's really a good experience for him.
Right.
As he was purchasing, he now has a tenant there, and he was living there as the owner occupant. And he just grew in his knowledge of how to handle a tenant while he was there.
Yeah.
And now he's ready to rent it out on the second floor, which was a 2-family, and he's looking to put another tenant in the house. So
will that help pay his mortgage on a new house?
Oh yeah.
Pretty good deal.
Right.
Did he borrow any money on his investment property to buy the second house?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, he did.
So what he did is he owned this property for how many years, roughly?
I think it's now 3 years.
3 years. So he bought it at a pretty good price, or probably market or thereabouts, right? It's a nice spot for her to live in, right? Built equity, correct?
Yep.
Then he was able to pull some of that equity out to buy the other house.
Yep.
And by pulling the equity out with the new mortgage and the new income coming in, he's still very positive cash flow.
Very positive cash flow. And actually the property that he has, he's also renting out the garages. And so that's added more income. So that was helpful.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad.
And that's been over just a period of 3 years. So it's not like the stock market where you buy something and you watch it a couple of days and maybe sell it, true? A little bit more long term looking at stuff, right? So you're looking at a tax shelter. That's just, you're looking at somebody paying a mortgage for you. Then you're looking at a tax shelter. True. Then you're looking at building equity in the property.
Yes.
And then take the equity out to buy your next property.
Right.
That's a pretty good game plan.
Yeah, it works well.
So if a person wants to start, though, probably there's a little hesitancy on your first one. Well, of course, with you being in the business, mom being in the business, made it a little bit easier for him to make a decision to buy a 2-family.
Yeah, he trusts my judgment of helping him find the right place and kind of get established there. And he's now really making his own decisions now, as he goes along. So I think that it's really working well with him now experienced with this house.
So now mom's in the background. He's just going forward.
Yes.
So if a person wants to buy the first, they could come to the team. A good share of us on the team already own investment property, and we could kind of help guide them in the path to follow. Buying the first one, maybe the second. Now I know you have some relatives. I've just he's in the process of buying a 6-unit with 7 garages. So the garages, a lot of people don't realize can can bring a good source of income with not as many headaches. True.
Right. Additional income.
Right.
On the
And the whole package, right? And you don't have like a lot of maintenance because you're usually pulling a car in and out. You're not fixing plumbing or electric or stuff like that, right?
Now, how does residential property compare to commercial rental?
A good question. Commercial rentals are a bit different. They usually rent by square foot per year. Okay, so commercial properties, you're dealing in our market between $15 and $20. It's called triple net or net or single net. And that net figures means what the tenant's gonna pay or the landlord's gonna pay. That instead of saying the tenant will pay single net, it means paying only utilities, and the landlord will pay for the snow plowing and maintenance.
Right.
If it's triple net, there's other things that the tenant has to pay.
Do you feel that is less headaches on a commercial as opposed to a residential?
Probably less headaches, more difficult to rent.
Takes longer.
Takes longer. Usually need a lot more capital down. Number two, it does take less tenant care because they're in it for 3 years and they're trying to run a business out of it, so less tenant care. But then in our business, we like to sell the residential properties because if they buy them, we can also sell the tenants they move in houses. So, if I own rental property, now you move your tenant into buying a house. So we're kind of in that end. Commercial end, I've done it. They're not as emotionally involved. It's just a business decision. And when we're doing residential sales, there's more emotion involved in the sale. Like you said, with getting John in, kind of encouraging him, try this, do that.
Right.
Okay. Commercial, this is what we're going to do. This is a rate of return. That's it.
Now, what about going with the commercial residential property,
mixed use?
Like a 6-unit residential.
That's just over you get into financing right over 4 units. When you go to 5, 6, 7, 8 up in there, the 4 units or less comes under what's called Fannie Mae guidelines for financing.
Yes.
Okay, and that's easy to sell in the secondary market. When you go to 5 units or more, you're going into semi-commercial paper, it's called.
Right.
And it's a little more, even though it's residential, it's more difficult to finance it. Usually on that, they want 25% down. And some experience in owning other property.
I was just going to say, you have to show some experience to purchase something like that.
Correct. Unless you have no experience, then they just want 50% down.
Right.
But the financing's available for that. Rates are different when people are buying investment property, owner-occupied, like your son. Then your rates are very residential rates.
Okay.
Fair enough? 3-4%.
Okay.
But when you go into owning more than one property and you're buying your second or your third, you're at the mercy of lenders, even in Fannie Mae products, and they'll probably bump the rates and the points up.
Okay.
So you have to understand that you're becoming more of a risk because you buy more. They're looking at you as, well, you're a big boy or big girl playing the game, so we can hound you for a bit more money.
Right. They want to see some money from you.
They're taking a bigger risk, so they're going to, like my stuff that I borrowed today is around between 5.5% and 6.5%. Okay, either I pay that or I don't buy stuff. So I still buy stuff, but you just have to weigh your rate of return with a little higher interest rate. That's all. And if the rates slide way up, might be a good time to buy because owners might carry paper. Paper being called mortgage, just another term for mortgages, Because really a mortgage is a piece of paper you're agreeing to pay. Right. So the vernacular in our businesses is paper. You borrow paper differently, So that's really where you go with rental property. The good thing is you buy one and you don't like it, you can always get rid of it. It makes it a little bit easier. And it always sounds like it's an easy game, like, I'm a landlord, so they'll send me a check every month. Do they send you a check every month when you first started? Not always readily sometimes.
Not always.
So you got to make some adjustments. You got to know there's going to be some headaches involved with it. You got to know that probably you're going to have some vacancies once in a while.
Right.
Today, not so much because of the demand. So, but 10 years ago, there's quite a few vacancies.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so how do you get around that? You got to have a little bit of capital set aside. But it goes with the game. I mean, you have to understand sometimes you're going to have some headaches. There's not a free lunch yet.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, we've owned our property, our investment property, for 20 years now. So we definitely have seen different markets.
And they have been different over 20 years.
Yeah.
That, I've only owned stuff since the 80s and the 60s and the 70s. So we've seen huge changes in rental demand and what they're expecting. But the rents, have gone up considerably.
Yeah, they have.
And that's really been a blessing in disguise. Many people take that money and just take it out, but we've been reinvesting it to make the properties better, which in turn gives us a larger income because you can increase the rents more. So you're using your cash flow to keep the properties good so that you can get a higher rent. And people say, well, why don't you just take it? Well, maybe you'll take it out once in a while. I'm not saying that, but just to say you take it all the time would be false. You have to reinvest. You have to buy stuff new. The nice thing about that, if you own a bunch of property, you have people around doing work, and you get your work done home.
Right,
And I own a few more than one, and I have plenty of time. No, my wife does all the work. I just answer the phone. I have to be up front. And that's a good team effort. My wife does a lot of the books and stuff too. And she does the books and pays all that stuff. I used to do that, but we've kind of asked her to do that. She's been good at it.
So it's thankful for Pat.
Amen. Amen. So we've helped about 14 people become millionaires over the years, which is kind of nice, all in real estate. And they've done pretty well. And you would not recognize them on the street. That's the interesting part. They usually drive a pretty crummy car, because if they don't, tenants won't pay them. They drive very average cars. They're very average people who've become pretty wealthy owning real estate. So it's been kind of fun. If anybody's interested in doing real estate and investing, you can give our team a call. One of our buyer brokers or myself will help you, give you a short crash course on how to invest in real estate and the ins and outs of it. And you can make a decision from there. Give our team a call. Hope this helps, guys. Thanks.